You are 36, and you have $290,000 in investable assets. You have not posted a vacation photo in 10 years. Not because you haven't traveled. You have, 4 times, all of them deliberately unglamorous, none of them photographed for anyone but yourself. The last trip you took was a long weekend at a state park 40 minutes from your apartment. It cost $140 total, and you remember almost every hour of it. Your college roommate has posted 41 vacation photos in the same decade. Bali, Santorini, a private villa in Tulum that he mentioned cost $4,200 for 4 nights. He has a beautiful feed and $11,000 in savings. By the end of this video, you'll definitely see that the Instagram vacation isn't really a vacation. It's a recurring payment for a feeling that lasts roughly as long as the engagement notifications do, and most people never calculate what that recurring payment actually costs over a decade. You'll find out exactly what the alternative produces, and the gap will surprise you. This is your life without the Instagram vacation for 10 years. Year 1. You are 26, and you decline the destination wedding invitation. Not the wedding itself. You go to the wedding. You decline the version everyone else is doing, the 4-day extension before and after the ceremony at the resort, the $2,100 add-on that 3 other guests have already booked and are posting countdown stories about. You attend the ceremony, stay 2 nights instead of 6, and fly home while the group continues to a beach club you've already seen photographed 9 times that week. A friend asks if you're going to regret missing the extension. You say you don't think so. She says it looked amazing. You say it probably was amazing. You don't say the rest of what you're thinking, which is that amazing, photographed from a beach club chair and amazing experienced from inside your own actual life, are not obviously the same thing, and you're not sure anyone has tested the difference carefully. You take the $2,100 you didn't spend and put it into a brokerage account you opened the same month. You write the number on the first page of a yellow legal pad, $1.19 from the pharmacy down the street, and below it, you write the date and nothing else. Your credit score at this point is 680. Decent, unremarkable, built from 3 years of a single credit card used carefully. You don't think much about the score yet. You think about the $2,100 sitting in an account, already starting to do something the resort trip never would have done. The first rule: at year 1, the vacation isn't expensive because of the flight or the hotel. It's expensive because of the version of it that exists specifically to be seen. And the seen version always costs more than the lived version. Year 2. You are 27, and you watch 4 friends post from 4 different destinations within the same 6 weeks. Each trip generates somewhere between 30 and 60 photos, a handful of which appear publicly, the rest archived for reasons nobody quite articulates. You notice something during this stretch. The trips are described afterward almost entirely in terms of how they looked, rarely in terms of what specifically happened during them. You ask one friend what the best moment of her trip was. She describes a photo. Not a moment, a photo. You don't travel this year. You stay home, work, and put $400 a month into the investment account, which has grown to $11,800 by December. You also start paying closer attention to a number you'd been ignoring: your credit utilization. You'd been carrying a balance near 60% of your limit, paying it off in full but not before the statement closed, which meant the bureau was reporting a number that didn't reflect your actual financial discipline. You start paying down the balance before the statement cuts each month. Your score rises from 680 to 724 within 4 months, without spending or earning a single additional dollar. This is also the level where credit and travel quietly intersect in a way most people never connect. Because the vacation that gets put on a card and paid off over 6 months at 22% interest isn't really a $2,100 trip. It's closer to a $2,600 trip once the interest is counted, and the bureau remembers every month that balance sits there long after the trip itself is forgotten. I broke down the full 5-level relationship between net worth and how credit bureaus actually treat you, from a $300 secured deposit at $0 to a 1-hour approval at $1 million, in the video appearing right now. But for now, let's stay with what happens as the gap between you and your friends' feeds keeps widening. The second rule: at year 2, the trips you don't take and the balances you don't carry are doing the same job from two different directions. Year 3. You are 28, and a close friend gently asks if everything is okay financially. She means well. She's noticed you haven't traveled in 2 years, while everyone else in the friend group seems to be somewhere new every few months. You tell her things are fine, genuinely fine, better than fine, and she looks slightly unconvinced because the evidence she's using, your absence from the destinations, your absence from the feed, points the opposite direction from what you're telling her. You don't explain the investment account. Explaining it would require explaining the math, and the math, at this stage, still sounds like deprivation to anyone who hasn't run it themselves. You do take one trip this year, the state park 40 minutes away, 3 days, $140 total including food. You don't post anything from it. Not from restraint exactly. You just don't think to, because the trip wasn't built around being shown to anyone. Your investment account crosses $19,000. Your credit score crosses 760. Your friend's Tulum Villa trip, the $4,200 one, was financed partly through a buy now, pay later service that splits the cost into 4 payments, a detail he mentioned in passing that you didn't think much about at the time and think about more now, because 4 interest-free payments on a vacation is still 4 payments on a vacation, regardless of how the math is framed. The third rule: at year 3, people will assume the absence of visible spending means an absence of money. The assumption is almost always backward. Year 4. You are 29 and you get a modest raise, 7%, the kind that arrives with a small mention in a one-on-one rather than a celebration. The raise doesn't change anything visible about your life. It changes the automatic transfer to your investment account, which increases to $550 a month. Your apartment is the same, your wardrobe is the same, your travel pattern is the same, meaning largely absent, with the occasional deliberate exception that costs almost nothing and gets photographed by no one. A coworker, newly arrived from a different company, asks during a lunch conversation if you've been to any of the places everyone's been posting about. You say no, not recently. He seems mildly surprised, the way people are surprised when something doesn't match the implied baseline everyone else has established, without realizing they've established it. You think, on the walk back to the office, about how much of the implied baseline is actually real versus performed. You don't have data on this yet. You have a suspicion, and the suspicion deepens every time someone describes their trip in terms of how it looked, rather than what happened. Your investment account crosses $31,000. The fourth rule: at year 4, the baseline everyone assumes exists because everyone is performing it simultaneously, which makes it feel real even when almost nobody underneath the performance is actually thriving the way the performance suggests. Year 6. You are 31, and your college roommate posts from his 18th distinct destination of the decade. You see him in person for the first time in 2 years at another friend's birthday dinner. He looks tired in a way the photos never show. He mentions, almost as an aside while ordering a second drink, that he's been putting some of the bigger trips on a card he hasn't fully paid down, and that he'll deal with it eventually. He says this lightly, the way people say things they've decided not to think about carefully. You don't say anything about your own numbers. You don't need to. The conversation moves on to other things, and the dinner is good, and you mean it when you say it's good to see him. Your investment account, combined now with a small position in a retirement fund through work, crosses $94,000. Your credit score is 801. You've taken 3 trips total across 6 years. The state park 3 times, slightly different versions, each one costing under $200, none of them photographed for an audience. You don't feel like you've sacrificed anything. This is the part that surprises you most when you think about it directly. The absence of the Instagram vacation hasn't felt, in the lived experience of the last 6 years, like deprivation. It's felt like simply not doing a specific thing other people do, the same way you don't collect a specific hobby item or follow a specific sport. The absence created space, and the space filled with something that compounds instead of something that gets liked for 11 hours and then disappears into an archive nobody revisits. The fifth rule: at year 6 you discover that the sacrifice was mostly theoretical. The actual experience of not performing vacation was quieter and less costly than anyone watching from outside would assume. Year 10. You are 36, and you have $290,000 in investable assets. Your credit score is 829. You've never carried a balance past a statement close in 8 years. You've taken 4 trips total across the decade, 3 of them to the same state park, one of them a longer trip to visit your grandmother before she passed, which you also didn't photograph, because photographing it never once occurred to you as something the moment needed. Your college roommate, 41 vacation photos deep into a beautifully documented decade, has $11,000 in savings and a credit card balance he mentioned at the same birthday dinner 3 years ago that he'll deal with eventually. You don't know if he ever did. You haven't asked. The friendship is still real. The numbers are simply not a topic either of you brings up. You sit at your kitchen table with the legal pad, 11th volume now, same brand, same pharmacy, same $1.19, and you write the number, $290,000. Below it you write what you estimate, conservatively, the decade of declined extensions and skipped destinations would have cost had you done what was implied around you. Somewhere near $38,000 in flights, resorts, and the financing costs of putting trips on cards you didn't immediately pay off. The $38,000, invested instead of spent, compounded over 10 years into a meaningful fraction of the $290,000 sitting in front of you now. Somewhere right now, someone is booking a trip specifically because 3 friends already posted from somewhere similar this month, and the booking feels less like a choice and more like keeping pace with a baseline nobody actually verified was real. The trip itself might be wonderful. That's not the part being questioned here. The part being questioned is whether the trip is happening because you want to be somewhere or because you want to be seen having been somewhere, and whether you've ever actually separated those two motives long enough to notice which one is driving the decision. 10 years from now, one version of you has a feed. The other version has $290,000 and a state park 40 minutes away that nobody else has ever heard of. Choose deliberately, not by default.